Hi, and welcome to Beyond the Racing Line, the Formula 1 podcast by fans, for fans. Here we are at the Australian Grand Prix for round one of the 2026 World Championship. I'm joined by Tristan Pocock. We've been on the ground today. Tristan,
hi mates.
What are your first reactions?
Oh, geez, it's a mixed bag today because we're pretty excited to see something new, but then two completely different sessions in every way, shape, and form. And it's really hard to leave. It was really hard to leave the track today, having any idea on what even tomorrow's FP3 is going to look like. So I'm not sure. I liked what I saw. There were parts I didn't like what I saw as well. So I guess that's sort of what this round is, isn't it? We're finding out who can do what, who's got something, who's got nothing. The pecking order. Good luck trying to predict it now, because who knows? Who knows what we're going to have?
It is complete discovery at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
We haven't seen anything quite like this before, where so much has changed, and we're going to have to come to terms with that, and we're going to have to come to terms with the teams are still trying to work that out at the same time.
Yeah.
It's been really interesting, that's for sure. We're going to get through a few bits and bobs of news. I sat in some press conferences today and whatnot, and we had a couple of practice sessions, and then we're going to talk about fantasy. So fantasy's on again for this year. So
it is.
Listen out to the end, because we're going to go through our teams and where we think there's going to be gains, where we think there's going to be losses, and then we're going to remind ourselves that we don't really know because we've never won it.
No, that's very true.
But we'll get into all those things. Let's talk liveries.
All right,
it's one thing for us to judge the liveries when it comes to seeing them on the screens, seeing them at the launches, but to see them in the flesh. And I think there's two things we see when we see them in the flesh. We see them close up in the pit lane. We're in the privileged position of being in the pit lane this year and being in the paddock and being able to sort of see all the uniforms and all those sorts of things. So we see them up close when they're still. But then there's another thing where you see them on the track.
Yep.
And they're actually quite different.
Yeah,
there's three ways to see it: on the screen, up close, still in the pit lane, and then on the track. Thoughts on your favourite to see since you've seen them now?
Favourite so far, I mean, the Aston looks the best.
The Aston Martin,
it really does.
Just a beautiful car.
It's fantastic. It looks better than what it did in the renderings and the launches and even on track. So that's as far as I got down the pit lane today.
Just number one for you?
No. I saw the Haas on track, and it looks even better than what I had already been spruiking about it in the weeks leading up to it. I thought Haas was borderline perfection. Yeah. Even though I think I only ranked it third. But yeah, it looks unreal. So the Haas looks proper racing for me.
For me, the Haas up close is not really doing it.
Really?
Yeah, you look at it up close, you still look at it still, you can see all the lines on it. It's not doing it for me at all. On the track, it's okay. I wouldn't rave about it, that's for sure. But for me, the Aston Martin is the nicest looking car.
Yeah,
up close.
Looks terrific.
Track, I really like the RBs.
The RBs look better than what I thought.
Nice bit of white, the bright Red Bull sort of logo on it.
Yep.
It looks really cool on track as well.
They looked pretty hectic on the launch. A lot of sponsorship going on. I thought it was too busy, but yeah, they look quite good. I really do like the Audi. Like, again, I'm sort of moving past the fact that it's new. I do like it. It's different.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I like it, because it is so different.
For me, it's the worst car out there.
Really?
And some simple changes would fix it, but this line, and it is, when you look at it close up, there's a line going down the middle of the car, like you're chopping it in half from front to back.
Yep.
And it goes from the silver, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
To the black and the red, bright red, whatever you'd call that.
Yep.
Which is also pretty cool.
Yeah.
But just blend them in some way. Just put the red on an angle and blend them in.
Do it rather than a block.
Yeah, it's just such a strange setup.
I wasn't a huge fan of the McLaren. It looks quite neon.
It looks
in
better.
The sun.
Looks great on track.
Yeah.
Up close,
looks quite neon.
It's okay, yeah.
And the Red Bull, I noticed that when we had the launch, the real sort of takeaway from that was the glitter specs, the geometry through it, which
not as visible.
Well, I kind of would argue that they're not even there.
Okay.
That's good.
That's good because I didn't notice them.
Okay, well, like the photo that I've got here from pit lane, they're black.
Yeah.
So they're not even that real metallic blue, which is what I think really wowed us all.
And the uniforms show the blue.
Uniform blue shows the blue. Yeah. Now Red Bull's a bit. I mean, it still looks amazing. I was a bit disappointed not to see that glitter geometry pattern through it, but yeah.
What other things that you noticed in the pit lane today?
Other things I noticed in the pit lane today. Audi's gantry above their pit area, which is just all enclosed and fully lit up. It's very high tech.
Yep.
They're a real professional looking outfit, Audi.
Yep.
They really are.
I agree with that.
They really are. The Williams looks a little bit better than what I probably initially thought, to be quite honest.
The Williams, and I feel like they've moved
it looks
the main blue of the...
Yeah, it looks a little bit different. I think
gone closer to the side blue, which I think is a good move. I think
a couple extra sponsors might have alluded to that too. Pit lane was... the paddock was a big talking point.
It was.
Because all the trees have gone.
And that's a bad thing.
You
walked in and thought it looked cool.
Oh, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like we've lost all these trees, so for people who've never been for the right-hand side of the paddock when you walk in, it's just these beautiful overgrown trees. Shade everywhere. It's got a real sort of homely feel. But when we arrived yesterday, totally gone. And we've got these big sort of, almost like the Singapore structures. You know, the sort of blossoming flowers sort of type thing.
But
there's a couple of those there.
Made out of some sort of weatherproof canvasy, plasticky canvas.
A couple of those. A few sort of, how would you describe them? Like marquees. Like temporary structured marquees. The paddock area looks wider and bigger. So that's the thing I like about it. There's a lot more space to move.
For me, I think it looks narrower.
Yeah, okay.
It's interesting,
I think it's opened up and I like it.
No, it looks terrible. I mean... They've dressed it up. There's lots of purple with the way that the Oz Grand Prix has gone for this year with their logos and stuff.
It was rapt to see the wooden walkway planks that I constantly trip over every year are just gone. So I'm really happy to see those.
Oh, yeah.
Disappear. I was talking to the guy that hangs out the front of Red Bull today, and he was saying that he really dislikes the feel of the paddock. And a lot of people dislike the feel of the paddock because it had its own sort of unique personality with like that sort of more natural element to it. And he didn't like it.
I'm with
you. Yeah, they were all really disappointed to see them go. But
I think to fill people in, I think there's going to be a redevelopment of the pit building and the paddock club.
Yep.
And so the trees are the first thing that needs to go for that to happen.
Yep. They've replanted.
And unfortunately... No, well, I think they're actually potted at the moment. But, unfortunately, the trees had to go, which, it is really disappointing. I tend to agree with everybody. But anyway, I mean, that's not really a here nor there for...
not really.
For everyone else. But for people who have been lucky enough to be in the paddock a few times, it is something that we noticed. I'll tell you, the other thing that we saw, though, out and about, out in the general admission, they have put up some massive structures.
It is party central for the general admin people.
And they've done a great job setting up. It's just some really great spaces to go and sit in some shade. There's probably still not enough shade, given that this is Australia and it's a sunny joint, but because everyone's cramming under these huge shade structures, they could probably put in another two of them. But I tell you what they've done is just magnificent, and the food vendors, it all looks
activation
great.
Zones. There's stuff for adults, there's stuff for kids. You know, I love all that, and I think with the general admission prices going up, I think it's great that the off-track matches that price line. They've lifted the standards.
Yeah, and there seems to be quite a few great hubs for sitting and watching on a big screen with some food around.
Yeah, heaps of great stuff to do.
Lots of seating, which I think is, I think they've done a great job, because I think that was a bit of a knock on them. There was too many long lines and that sort of thing. I don't know what the toilet situation was like, because I know that's been a problem in the past, but it's good to see them making some of those great changes.
I wandered out to the Melbourne Street area, and I really like seeing the Carrera Cup was out there, and the real intimacy and up close of Carrera Cup and the general fan. Like, you could pretty much walk into the garage with Carrera Cup, so that was good to see. Like, even though they've moved a little bit away from the track, the fan engagement was pretty massive there, which I really liked.
Yeah, absolutely. I attended a few press conferences today. Unfortunately, we weren't on the ground for very long yesterday.
No, we were just sort of in and out. Real FOMO yesterday.
It's very unusual for us not to. I love my Thursdays.
I know you love your Thursday. You live in the press conference.
I get to sit in press conferences. I get to watch people's reactions. I get to ask some questions, and it is just my favourite day. It was a happy occasion. I was at a wedding of some family of mine, and we had a great time at the wedding, but. Yeah, it meant we had to come home from the Grand Prix very early. It was hard work leaving that.
It actually was. That's
our
first world problems that we're living at the moment.
It was, and then we weren't sure when we were going to get here today because I've had toothaches and all sorts of things, but we've managed to make the most of it. So I did get into some press conferences this morning, and a couple of things that I've started to really... I sat in the team principals press conference today, and before that, yesterday, I did manage to get into Adrian Newey's press conference where he announced that the vibrations is the cause of all the problems, and the vibration is coming from the power unit.
Yeah.
And that power unit is vibrating so much that it's destroying batteries. Currently, this is yesterday's press conference, so this wasn't actually announced yesterday, but currently they were destroying batteries and it wasn't sustainable to continue on the way that it was. But also that the drivers felt like they couldn't do more than, Fernando Alonso couldn't do more than 25 laps and Stroll couldn't do more than 15 laps. And so it was a packed, I put a post on our Facebook page, it was a packed press conference, and it was just one of those moments where I feel like I'm going to remember that I was in there for quite some time. Because the words he was trying to use, and I say trying to use because the microphones were also not working in the venue, and Adrian was looking very frustrated with that because it was sort of like, well, you can't make batteries work, you can't even get microphones to work. But anyway, it was a packed house, and the tension was high, and things weren't going well, and he elaborated further in the press conference today. And the thing that I've noticed about Adrian Newey in the press conference for the team principals, we had Newey, we had Toto Wolff, and we also had Graham Loudon from Cadillac. And the thing that I've noticed about Newey's reign as a team principal is he is an explainer. He's always been an explainer. Probably, and I feel like as a team principal, it's going to be to his detriment eventually, but it is so refreshing and great because it means that he goes into detail about his answers. He doesn't try and just media fob off some of the questions that are being asked. He goes into detail, and some of the things that he was explaining about it all was just incredible. There's some fresh problems in the batteries from what they've had in the past. Today, the fresh problems was that the communication between the battery and the battery management system started failing, and so it wasn't necessarily that the batteries are no good, but they couldn't talk to each other, and so that was causing a problem. Unfortunately, they're down to 2 batteries in existence that are working currently
in the chassis,
and they're in both of the cars at the moment. There are 2 that they think are still okay, but they're obviously not working at the moment because of the lack of communication between them and the management system, and it meant that we didn't see Fernando Alonso on track this morning.
Bollards went straight up in FP1.
We saw only 3 laps, I think, from Stroll, and then we saw a few more laps in the second session where they thought they tested a couple of things before they went and destroyed the batteries that were working. And so they're in a really, really tough place at the moment. He was handing all responsibility over to Honda for this. Because it's the power units that are causing the vibrations. I wasn't sure after the first press conference, but he certainly confirmed that it was the power unit is doing that. He's feeling frustrated because he's powerless. In the past, when he's had issues at Red Bull, he's felt like he's been able to sink his teeth into the problem and work his way through it, whereas this is a power unit problem, and so unfortunately it's meant that
can't do anything about it.
they're part of it, but they can't actually do too much. And so, they're not trying to pretend like it's a them and us problem. However, he's very much laid it on Honda as their problem, but his words said differently.
Well, Fernando's comments about half an hour ago before we got in was that he was asked if he could complete the Grand Prix on Sunday, and he said yes, he could do it. It's just whether or not they're going to have the parts to be able to do it, which is... That's a real tricky situation
and he's
to
talking
be in.
about batteries there. He's talking about batteries because they're on those last
batteries. And we're at China next weekend.
And
so
the question was asked of you, can they fly some more in? And the answer was there aren't any more. And so whether that changes by China, I'm not sure. But this is serious levels. I mean, we thought Williams a couple of years ago was in a bad spot. I mean,
disaster.
This is gone further. The other issue is that they've done very little low fuel loads for any of the practice or any of the testing, because the fuel's been acting as a dampener on this vibration. So if you take the fuel out, the dampening effect of having the fuel in the car means that the vibrations get worse and things don't go well. So it was really interesting. He then went on to talk about Honda and their relationship, and he said that Honda's first job is to fix this problem, and then ultimately the next job is to get on with making the engine faster for 2027, and that's alarming for me. That's already known that they need to make next year's engine faster, and this is the combustion side, so they haven't got the electricity side sorted, although mind you maybe they think that they've got the harvesting sorted, but they haven't got the battery sorted.
Oh yeah, they could, couldn't they?
So there is a great deal of frustration between the team and them. He spoke about the fact that he and Lawrence Stroll went to Honda when rumours started flying around in November that things weren't going so well. Only then did they discover that most of the personnel that they thought was working on this weren't working on this. They thought that the team that had put together the Red Bull engine was back on board for this. However, they've all gone off to different projects. They haven't brought them all back together, and so there's some frustration around that because 70% of the team that's working on this engine is new to the role. And then he went on and talked about his own role. So he spoke about the fact that originally he spoke about the fact that this is an extension of his old role. It's just that he's overseeing more areas. But then he went on, and this is the new way where he goes on and explains things further. Later on, he went on and explained, look, I don't have as much time for my designing and for my ideas. However, there is still that time there. But generally, the way that he does things is he comes up with the ideas, he puts together some work around it, and then hands it off, and they get on with the work. And then he comes back in and checks on it. And so there's just a little bit less of that sort of thing happening. I feel like maybe he's got his ideas out there and now he's trying to work it out. He didn't look comfortable in the role. No. He's not a media man. It is wonderful talking to him.
It's great to hear from him in depth.
And that's it. Like, he gives more depth than anyone else does. However, he just doesn't look like the media man. Even Graham Loudon, who was sitting there for the first time as a Cadillac team principal, he looked more natural than Newey. Newey didn't necessarily look uncomfortable. It just didn't look like what he should be doing.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more.
Doesn't seem like his job. But anyway, he may surprise us in time. But I tell you what, it's certainly been tough for him for his first few months.
And that's it. Like, we're round one. We're 2 sessions into round one, and we're already starting to focus on what we need to do for next year. It's. We all had them touted as the dark horse at the start of the season. That this could be it. This is the last key to unlocking, the absolute potential of Aston Martin, and it could not have gone more wrong. I know, even if you were predicting how wrong this is going to go, to the level and extent of what they're scrambling with at the moment on every single department within that team is alarming. So there's minimal to look forward to, if anything, and especially if you're coming all this way and to be doing what is essentially a glorified test, which is just, as we said, 3 laps to Stroll, and then was sort of out a little bit in FP2.
Honda brought some updates, and so they were doing they're looking at the figures around how that was looking, because they just don't want to destroy these batteries, because they're supposed to be able to run. And so there'll be consequences, probably financial consequences, with the Concord agreement if they don't get any running in. So
sponsors are going to be furious. There's going to be so many ramifications for them.
So anyway, there might be some positive signs there today, because finally they got some running in, and so they might have seen something that was working, but they still were a long way down on the timesheets. I think they weren't catching Cadillac yet.
No,
that's a concern, because Cadillac weren't setting anything alight either.
No, they weren't. The last time I saw, Lance was 5.1 off Perez at one stage.
Yeah, I think they're back to the same second.
Yeah.
I think that's like 4 seconds off everyone else, though.
But even to see a team like Audi, who have built a brand new engine, to have the likes of Red Bull, who've gone out on their own, bringing a new engine. Cadillac have literally started from scratch, bringing an entire team. And they were all in front of them. And it's not like they had less time or more time or whatever. Everyone had the same time frame. Everyone knew what was going on. But to have an established team doing so poorly is it's incredible. I've never seen such a drop off in. I can't think of a sport or a team in any sort of sporting environment that has had such a dramatic fall in anything, really. So
you bring up Cadillac. Graham Loudon was one of the first thing he said, which was really interesting, and I don't think many people have thought about it, is this is the first session where they're running 2 cars. So that was a new learning experience for the team, because for all the practice sessions and for all the testing and the shakedown sessions, they only ever had 1 car on track. And so the fact that they had 2 cars on track, it was a new learning experience for the team. They've brought some upgrades here from what they've had in the past. They've worked their way through some issues, which in a way he said was, look, it's actually a really great thing that we've worked our way through some issues, because we know this is what we have to do as a team. And we're pretty happy with how we've managed that situation. There's just a few little teething things, like they've lost some mirrors today. But all in all, they know where they're at, and they're pretty happy with where they're at, really.
And a pass mark for them is just completing Grand Prix.
Laps. And just Grand Prix and laps. I mean, Perez didn't do a lot in the second session. I haven't seen why that was. But yeah, I mean, ideally, it's just keep on going, get the laps in, complete the Grand Prix, and then start to build from there. But yeah, it was good. I mean, he did things like, he spoke about the fact that he wanted to thank families of team members, because he knows how much work's gone into the team to get them to this point. And he knows that there's families that don't get to see their loved ones while they've been putting all this time in. So I think that's really important too. Toto Wolff said they've had a couple of difficult sessions. In actual fact, they've been working their way through some problems, which they're sure they can overcome, but there have been some problems. But yeah, it hasn't been straightforward, that's for sure. So,
no. And I'm surprised that they didn't come out and blow it away like we thought everyone was, going like everyone thought they were going to. FP2 was much better to see both of them sort of more towards that point end with Antonelli and Russell. But I don't know, it sort of feels to me like with such a hype around them in testing and the data and the numbers and the laps that they were completing and the talk of that, extra horsepower within the loophole of the regulations, they kind of have to win for me.
Who's that?
Mercedes.
This weekend?
Yeah, it kind of has to be a win.
Yeah, that's a bit tough though, because it's us putting that pressure on.
Yeah, but them. Everyone's talked about them, and everyone's saying they're the ones to catch. So they look good, they feel good, they're up there.
They look stuck on.
It'll be a little bit of a fumble if they don't.
I'm not sure we've seen the best of them yet. I feel like there's a lot of teams that are just not yet unleashed what they've got. Not that it's sandbagging. I think they just want to be sure about everything else before they go. I think
with what we're asking the drivers to do now within a lap is you got to work that system out correctly first time.
Yeah, absolutely. On track, we saw 2 sessions. Like we said, they were quite different sessions. We saw the team start to unleash a few bits and pieces towards the second half. I mean, Oscar Piastri finishing on top in
awesome.
Free practice 2.
Awesome.
How good's that?
Fantastic.
2 tenths up even.
Lando had such a difficult day today. He's very much on the back foot.
Well, he actually completed more laps than Oscar did in the second session, which was a little surprising. I didn't realise that until I went back and had a little look. But
he missed that big chunk of the first session.
The first session, I think he's just building up that understanding, and I'm sure he'll be out there pushing the limits a little bit more next session. Anything else that took you surprise?
I was really surprised in general at the lack of sort of hype around Cadillac. Talked about it as we were leaving today, that for all that we pumped up and wanted an extra team on the grid, and they just sort of, they're pushed towards the back of the paddock, and they're
I'd be interested. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of the TV coverage.
No, but they're quite...
I'd be interested to see what's happening on the TV coverage.
On the ground, they're quite anonymous.
Well, I think that's the way to start that.
Yeah. Alpine, I've been really bullish on Alpine in the last couple of weeks. We've been back together doing things, and I wasn't impressed with what I saw with Alpine today.
We haven't seen a lot yet.
No.
I think, once again, it's a team that is still building. I think they seem to get through it.
You can't just bolt a fast engine in the back of it and expect to jump up the queue. I'm still not sold. I don't think I'm going to be sold. Audi, I thought Audi were impressive. Really impressive. I know they weren't as high up as the others, but to be just outside the top 4 and sort of on a par with Haas, really. They sort of traded places. Haas and Audi looked the most sort of stable in where they are in the pecking order, But yeah, I was really impressed with that. They had a clean day, lots of laps, testing some new parts, testing the rear wing, a lot of high vis on the rear wing of both Bordeletta and Hogelburst cars, especially in FP1.
No,
I'm really impressed with them and what they're doing.
Lindblad was another impressive one.
Unbelievably good.
He was obviously really trying to push though. I mean,
yeah,
it was fairly obvious on track that he was having a proper crack.
Yeah.
But it worked beautifully for him. I mean, Lawson also put in a decent lap too.
Yeah, well, even like we said last week, to come into a new regulation now with absolutely no background knowledge of how to drive any other regulation, I think he's in such a good position to be.
Yep. Who are the other ones to notice? I mean, Ferrari. Sorry, they just look like. I feel like everyone's going to make a big step. In the end, we saw Piastri over the two Mercedes boys and then the two Ferraris. Not a lot between that crew, but I feel like everyone's going to make that big step. But they just, for us, I think Ferrari just look like they're just ticking boxes at the moment.
Yep.
They seem to have a really nice base car, and it's going to come next, isn't it?
Yeah.
Other than that, I think we've probably got everyone sorted.
There's a few different days.
Like you say, there's a few anonymous teams out there at the moment. I mean, the Williams just seem to get a few things done. Carlos Sainz was low on laps in the second session, but Alex Albon got the laps in. Like you said, the Audi boys are going well. The Racing Bull guys seem to be just ticking boxes. It was probably pleasing to see that we didn't see a huge amount of things happening on track. I mean, the first session, the first thing we saw is Lindblad go out of the pits, and then he stopped 30 metres down the road and had to be brought back by the marshals, and then there's a radio message come in that Oscar was down on power, and then the radio message was coming in about the fact that Aston Martin were going out, and so at one point in time it looked like, oh boy, we're going to have a real reliability issue, but after that they seem to get themselves moving, and so
absolutely,
I think there'll be a lot of learning done overnight from the teams, and I think we'll see a bit of a step tomorrow. 3 seconds off the pace today, to be expected.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yes, yeah. For me, it's to be expected. I expect to see a jump. How far do we jump? I imagine we end up about a second off. Yes. Maybe a second and a half off possibly where they were, which is fine. I mean, it's a very different regulation, as we've talked about in the past.
Yeah.
So much has changed. We've gone from changing tyres, which has never been easy to deal with anyway.
Nope, that's right.
We've moved to active aero. We've moved, and which for Hulkenberg wasn't working properly on the straights.
Fully sustainable fuels.
We've moved to sustainable fuels. We've moved to 50-50 combustion, 50 and electricity with the batteries going in there. We're looking at how we're harvesting. We're harvesting into some of the corners, which is in particular in turn 9, a little bit of turn 11. So there is so much to take in, and I just think so much learning is going to be taken out of today. We'll see that little step. We'll start to see some pushing going on from the teams.
Yeah.
We'll start to see the drivers start to risk a few more things, I think, in FP3 and then into qualifying. So, there is plenty to enjoy. We enjoyed checking out the cars at turn 6 today.
Oh, it's true to get out on track. Love getting out on track and looking at that.
We enjoyed an ice cream out there.
Oh,
it was lovely, wasn't it? We had a beer, we had an ice cream, we saw some cars on track. Looking forward to getting over and having a look at how this high-speed clipping's going on tomorrow. It's just been a fantastic day, hasn't it? It's great to be back at the Formula 1, and great to have Formula 1 back in our lives for 2026. Let's talk now fantasy, because fantasy is live. We've got Dr. Auto Art back on board.
Thanks to Chris. Now, prizes galore for this time, and let me find what our prizes are, because we haven't actually probably announced them yet.
This is the official announcement.
We do need to do. So Chris is on board again for another year. Thanks to Chris at Dr. Auto Art. Have a look over the weekend. Find something terrific to launch into 2026 in your home. But for this year, Chris is keen to get his artworks out to more people. So at the moment, we've got 41 teams so far in our fantasy. So jump on our Facebook page. Our fantasy code is in there. Get on board for this year. But what we're having this year from Chris is our winner. Our overall winner gets a Dr. Auto Art artwork of their choice. Second and third will receive a 50% off discount code that you can use, which is terrific. So half price prints for those. And then he's extending right out to 4th and 5th place this year. So it's going to be for our top 5. And you will receive 25% off
How great.
Any artwork you choose from Chris at Dr. Auto Art. So thanks, Chris. First to 50 shit. Maybe we might be in with a bit of a shout.
Oh.
Might be in with a bit of a shout here at the moment with
with
a bit of fantasy. Anyway, we can only hope. But thanks to Chris and thanks to everyone who's been on it so far. If you know someone that hasn't done fantasy before or they want to get on board or they just need a little bit of a nudge, this is the year to do it and take us on and everyone else around our fan base across the world.
Absolutely.
All right, let's have a look. How are you going with your team so far?
I'm pretty happy in actual fact.
I thought I was happy.
I'm always happy.
I thought I was happy, but then I wasn't, and then I'm just jumping around all over the place. I haven't found what I like. My first initial team.
You're going to need to do that soon.
Yeah, my first initial team I thought was looking really, really good, but
now just before we get into it,
yep.
To join the league,
yep.
Go to our socials and find the link. There is a link on our socials.
Yes,
we will repost it along with this episode. But yeah, go and find the link, and then you punch in the code.
Yep, type in League ID code. Only one team per person.
That's it.
This year. So our code is C5Q Y7U B1D03.
And it is a 0. It's not a
0. It's not an O. It's a 0.
Yes.
And that'll get you into our BTRL Fantasy for 2026, along with the 41 people who are already in it. All right. So, what is it like? Are we gonna tell people what we've got for team?
I don't know. You're gonna have to release it.
Yeah. Well,
at this point in time, where are you at?
It's vastly different to what I started the day with. Let's be honest. All right. So at the moment. My two main drivers, I've got Charles and Kimmy.
Go on, Charles and Kimmy.
Charles and Kimmy.
That's a lot of money involved.
There is a lot of money involved.
Okay. Yep.
Who are your first key two?
At the moment, I've got Charles. I mean, 22.8 million. That's value for money, as far as I'm concerned. There's value. The only value in this league at the moment for top end talent. Charles and Ferrari. I feel like the majority of players are going to have Ferrari as the constructor and one of the Ferrari drivers.
Yep.
I'll be surprised if they don't. Anyway.
So who's your two?
So I've got Charles. Yep. At the moment I've got Isaac Hadjar.
Yeah. I had Hadjar on the way in.
He's a watch at the moment. I mean, he performed well today, which is a tick.
Yeah,
because all of Max's competitors are already looking like they're on the back foot at the moment.
Yep.
We haven't seen anything yet.
No.
But so far, so good.
So far, so good.
Yep.
My next two runners, I'm coming along on the Arvid Lindblad train at the moment. I thought he was good today.
Yep.
That sold me. Again, I didn't have him this morning on the right end, but I've got him now. So 6.2 is probably good. If he's going to kick around that lower point scoring is quite good. I've then gone Behrman and Hulk as well. But I'm not sure on Hulk. I just think maybe Gabby's the right choice.
I'm actually the same. We're very similar.
I would be surprised.
I've got Behrman and Hulkenberg as well. The only reason I've gone Hulkenberg over Behrman, over Bortoletto, is I want that consistency. And Bortoletto last year made some mistakes, but I'm feeling like, you know what? Maybe
it's fair.
Maybe he's a different driver this year.
Maybe
a year in the sport can do a lot for you.
My thought is maybe Hulk will be the development. Let's try a few new things because you're the wise old head.
Yep.
Whereas Bortoletto will just be get on with it.
Yep.
See how we go. All right, my constructors at the moment, which I'm not happy with my constructors. I'm trying to find a way to not have these two, but I have got Ferrari and Haas, which are not bad.
Yep.
Haas is the money constructor for me there, and so is Audi. At 7.2 for Haas, and then Audi will cost you 6.6.
Yep.
So they're the best.
Yep.
They're the best.
Yeah, for me, my day started with Ferrari and Alpine.
Yep. Alpine are not...
But throughout the day, I've moved to Audi currently.
Yep, okay.
I'm not sold on them. I'm with you. I think Haas might be another option.
Yep.
Potentially the Racing Bulls too, to be honest with you.
Possibly.
I mean if Lindvad and... I think Lawson finished in 13th, but yeah, if he can step it up. Yep. But what that does mean is I've got like 11.8 million in the bank, and so that isn't going to stay there. Let me give you the hot tip.
No,
I dare say we're going to be looking at trading in probably a Hadjar for an upgrade. I'm pretty happy with Lindvad, Behrman, and or Hockenberg or Portoletto.
Yep.
But yeah, that's where I'm looking at the moment. But yeah, that's the starting point.
Okay.
That's the starting point.
Don't mind it.
I'm ready to go big. I was very impressed with Antonelli.
Yeah.
I mean, I could potentially try and squeeze Oscar into that. I wanted to see a lot from the McLaren boys, so you never know. Oscar might end up in that team, and that's just spreading the load a little bit. But it isn't including a Mercedes, which I think will be a big step up tomorrow. So we'll have to wait and see. Yep. So that's where we're at the moment. Get your teams in. It's good fun across the way, isn't it?
Let me know how you go.
I'm looking forward to hearing who's in Shane's team. Traditionally hasn't performed well.
Well, at the moment.
But traditionally hasn't performed as poorly as Sam, which is also important.
So alarm bells are ringing for the 13% of people who currently have Fernando Alonso in their team.
Yes.
The 3% of people that have Lance Stroll in their team.
This isn't in our league, though. Sean.
No, it's not. This is just overall. And the 3% of people who have Aston as their constructors. The only percentage that can possibly be correct there is 0. If you have Aston in anything in your league, get rid of them right now. And I hope those 3%, 13% and other 3% of people come to their senses when they wake up early tomorrow morning and have their coffee and muffin and breakfast, however you start your day, and you just, 0. 0 is the answer there for Aston. So anyway, we'll see how we go. It's it's a bit of watch this space here. I don't know what to think of. I don't know. Valtteri, Perez, Colapinto, 6.2. Not loving that. Don't know.
Yep. It'll be one to watch. That's for sure. We'll be back. We'll see how we go getting back for an episode tomorrow, but we'll certainly be back with an after race episode.
If not, fire us in some questions. If you want to know what we're doing or what you want to see, and we'll see if we can get in touch with you personally across the weekend.
Throw
something at you.
We'll bring it up on the episode.
Bring it up for sure. Fire something at us.
But it is wonderful to see these teams working their way through this at the moment, and there's a different feel across the board because it's just the teams are in unknown land.
Yeah,
we're in unknown land. I don't think the concern is that the cars were looking slower. They didn't look like they were struggling on track as much to the corner that we were standing at, but then at turn 3 they were locking up a little bit. So I think as time goes, I do feel like these regulations are going to come alive a little bit. I think there's probably some tweaks that the FIA are going to probably make, and I think we'll see the benefits of that at some stage. But until then, we're eyes are completely glued to the track, and Formula One's back, and thank goodness for that.
Absolutely.
We hope everyone's enjoying, and we're looking forward to bringing more to you in the near future. But until then, goodbye now.